G'day and welcome to this week's video. My name's Robert Gowdy, and this week we're going to have a look at the cash rates, the official cash rate, and the flow-on effect that's had on to investors that use term deposits and conservative investments like cash. So we're going to be considering the risk of cash. Now, if you've already subscribed to our channel, thank you very much for supporting us, and for those that haven't, please consider doing so. And if you do, tick the bell icon and you'll get a notification each time we upload a new video. So the RBA's reduced the official rate to a new record low to 1.25%. It's not particularly a glowing report for the health of our economy. The RBA essentially has one big lever to pull. If they want to stimulate the economy, they decrease the interest rates. If they want to slow it down for whatever reasons, such as inflation, the cost of living is going up by more than what they're comfortable with, which is generally 3%, they will start to lift interest rates to slow the economy down. So it's really the only lever that they've got. What they want to do is they want to stimulate the economy. They know there is issues in the household debt side of things. There is very high levels of household debt and mortgage stress. There is also a slowdown in the building sector since the foreign investors have gone, and now since the Banking Royal Commission, it's a lot harder for people to get money to acquire properties. So this could flow on to the construction sector, and we've already heard that job losses in that sector is happening at the moment, and multiple businesses going to administration, particularly from what I've read in South Australia. So these are some of the concerns that they have. But what I wanted to focus on here is the risk as these interest rates come down because of our economy, and the RBA want to stimulate the economy to get it moving a bit quicker, is the flow-on effect as interest rates come down, what that does for people that are using term deposits, and what's the alternative. So here you can see a graph from the RBA from back to 1990 when we had extremely high interest rates. I was probably only 17, 18 at the time, wasn't particularly watching too hard back then, but I do remember in Victoria we had pyramid where people could get 16, 17, 18% on their term deposits, just phenomenal rates of return. But of course that didn't last long, came down very quickly. We did get a little bit of a bump, as you can see here, leading into the GFC, where everyone thought it was boom time again. Then the GFC hit, is the dip we're seeing here around 2009, and from there our economy's deteriorated, and where we are now, where we're at the moment. The flow-on effect to that has been very substantial for our cash investments. So we can see here in the yellow line that term deposits, and these are looking at the specials. So if we think about around 2.2, 2.4%, and if we could get 7.5%, we're talking about a 70 to 80% decline in the amount of income you get on your term deposits. So if you had around this time, 7.5%, somewhere in there, you had $1 million invested in a simple term deposit, you would get $70,000 per year. That has come down, probably down 70 grand down to $24,000. That is a monstrous change, 70-80% downward decrease in your income. So those people have to chew into some of their capital to meet their income needs. So for me, there's a huge risk of owning cash, having cash for the very long term. As the cost of living, CPI, goes up, the value of this asset will decrease over time. So I see as a huge risk to hold cash conservative assets over the duration. When I say duration, over your lifetime. What cash can do is help us sleep at night. It can provide us a nice buffer if something goes wrong. It's great to know that we've got 5, 10, 20, or for some of my retiree clients, I've got no issues if they have 50, 100 or $300,000. As long as we have other money that is working in areas that will provide a better return over the long term. And as I've always said, long term is really based on not to when you retire, but to your life expectancy. So as an alternative to cash, and one that I'm always, and this is a big part of my job, I'm educating clients as to trying to choose the right asset class. I'll use this graph that Peter Thornhill puts together. Check out his website called Motivated Money. I'm using his graph, so I need to give him a decent plug. he is the king in terms of teaching and educating people around being in the right asset classes. So what you're seeing here, so you're seeing the lines here. This is the All Industrials Index, so a basket of Australian shares. This is the capital value with the this line going along there, and it's comparing that to a simple term deposit. So we have $100,000 invested at the start in 1980, and of course the term deposit is $100,000 all the way along. Now what I want you to focus on here is the interest received. In the early days, the interest was substantially higher from the term deposit than what we're getting in dividends from the All Industrials Index. So, but over time, we've seen that the businesses within the industrial sector have grown to a value now of just under $1.8 million, compared to the term deposit, which is still at naturally $100,000, and the level of income we're getting has come down. You can see the red bars compared to the yellow bars. That money has come down substantially, where you're probably getting no more than $2,500, whereas if we look across the axis over here, we're getting over $80,000 per year in dividends. So, to use one of Peter's quotes, he much prefers the safety and reliability of investing into the share market for its fantastic income returns, as opposed to the risk that we're taking over a longer term by investing into the into term deposits, and the unreliable rate of return we get there, which has obviously been substantial, particularly in recent years. So long-term money, you really need to consider where that's invested. Of course, lower interest rates pump up all asset classes to a stage where things could get risky in the future. But low interest rates definitely get people thinking about where they should invest to get the best return over the longer term. So be very careful about holding cash for the long term. And please, this is general advice only. I really need anyone that's listening to make sure that you seek advice that's specific to your individual needs. Everyone is different. This is my view on the world in terms of investing. Please seek your own personal financial advice. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you next week.